What it do, YouTube, and welcome back into the Hollywood Rip studio for this week's episode of the Hobby Headquarters, the show where we tell you all about the latest and greatest going on in the world of sports, sports memorabilia, play, and more. Thanks for joining us. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Hollywood, but you can call me Mr. H. Joined alongside by Joe Nasty to my right, camera left. As always, happy Thanksgiving to you guys, by the way. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
We certainly did. Actually, I don't have no idea if he did because we're not related. But is Shohei Ohtani ever not in the news at this point?
Not around here.
Because once again, there's an awful lot of Shohei in our show this week. Leading off in the number one spot, Shohei Ohtani seeks $325,000 worth of baseball cards fraudulently purchased by his former interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara. Of course, Ippei Mizuhara pled guilty to bank and tax fraud for stealing $17 million. Apparently, it included a lot of sports cards, too. These cards were apparently bought on eBay and whatnot, as well as, and eBay also apparently had a large amount of personally signed Ohtani cards. I don't know if you guys remember, but that Topps Now card of Ohtani striking out Mike Trout to win the WBC. Trout and Ohtani signed 3 of those and numbered them, like 1 through 3. Mm-hmm. And Trout has one, Ohtani has one, and Ippei has one.
Oh, that worked out well.
Yeah, so I'm guessing he wants that from Ippei back as well. I think this is kind of cool. Shows that Shohei is, I guess you could say, involved in the hobby. I guess it's not out of like good circumstance.
Right.
But I always wanted to get that third card from Ippei anyways. I don't know if Shohei will be auctioning it, but if you are Shohei, I'm looking to buy it and I probably can't afford it. What are your thoughts on this breaking story?
Do you want it bad enough that you would also steal $17 million and end up in jail eventually? Just to hold it for like a few years?
That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay, it wasn't that tough. Super cool. I mean, this story has a lot of different angles to it, doesn't it? What next, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Maybe he will. Maybe he actually is the fall guy. I don't think so, but this always seems to find new twists and turns. So once he goes to jail, I have a feeling it'll die out.
Yeah, I think so. I just think it's really cool. I mean,
I love
surely. I have to wonder if they're baseball cards,
right?
And they're not Ohtani cards. Let's say.
Oh.
What cards are they? Like, what was Ippei like? Oh yeah, gotta have that. If it's not Shohei,
Ty Cobb.
Yeah. I have a feeling not Ty Cobb.
Bill Ripken.
Billy Ripken, the F-face card?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe, who knows. But moving on to hobby story number 2, and guess what? It's also Shohei Ohtani related.
Oh my God, no way.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, of course, won unanimous MVPs. They're both of their second MVPs in 3 years, I believe. And Topps, this should have been on last week's show, but we glazed over it because we just had a lot of crap to get through. But Topps now, of course, released the Aaron Judge Shohei Ohtani dual autograph 1 of 1, which is obviously signed by both players. And it has a piece of Aaron Judge's game-worn cleat from I have no idea what game, and a piece of Shohei Ohtani's game-worn jersey from I have no idea what game.
Okay.
But it is a really cool card. It is a 1 of 1. Commemorates 2 MVPs in the last 3 years. I think it's pretty awesome. It's the same model we've been seeing from Topps now the whole time. A bunch of people bought it. You're probably not, actually, you are not going to pull it. I don't buy them anymore. As much as I want to, I don't buy Topps now anymore just because it's such a horrific... I think Topps now is the worst value proposition in all of sports cars. And I mean all of sports cars.
Genius business decision, though.
No. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
It's an incredible financial model. It is a cash cow. It is a license to print money for Topps. But that being said, in terms of value, worst value in sports cards.
Yeah. I don't want Judge's cleat. I want the piece of glove that the ball glanced off of in Game 5. In the 5th inning in Game 5. Or, the part that he actually gloved as opposed to where it should have been. That's what I want from Aaron Judge instead. Although
That'd be an epic card. I want like a hangnail from Garrett Cole pointing to first
to
base.
Rizzo.
Like a little hangnail.
Go Rizzo.
Go over there.
I want. Can you bottle a look of exasperation on Rizzo's face?
Yeah.
That's what I would like.
Yeah, or that.
Although a piece of Judge's cleat, that means for a guy who's 6'7", 6'8".
That's a big piece of
As
cleat.
I said, there's a lot of cleat left too.
Yeah. They could have made like 15,000 one-of-ones with one Aaron Judge cleat.
15,000. Actually, yeah, they probably could have.
Moving to hobby story number 3. Topps Chrome update. We talked about this last week, but prices are still absolutely soaring.
Yes.
We opened a box of Jumbo last week for you guys on the channel. Those boxes, we paid $400 for that box. That box is now selling for $800. And we pulled Jack
Sherry.
Actually, we did pull a short print refractor of Yoshinobu Yamamoto, which was actually kind of cool.
That's cool.
We also did pull a rookie debut refractor of Jackson Holiday and a rookie refractor of Jackson Churio. I mean, all cool cards, but it is not $900 or $800. I'm sorry.
It doesn't have the patch.
No, right. Of course not.
Of course not.
Look, I think these prices are crazy. We talked about it a little last week. A ton of awesome cards and amazing hits in a very deep class. Mm-hmm. But the odds of hitting them are just so astronomical. Like, I don't really have an issue if you bought a box direct from Topps. Like we bought a couple boxes direct from Topps, the hobby box and the jumbo box for $199 and $419, right? But in the hobby box for one autograph and maybe like 1 or 2 numbered cards for $350 in the secondary market, it's insane. Jumbos have 3 autographs, but most of the time you're getting like either 3 nobodies or like 2 nobodies and like a kind of somebody. Like I think we got Christian Encarnacion Strand. It's that stack, that middle stack right there. What are the 3 top cards in that middle stack?
Oh, this one?
No. On the far left, middle stack.
This one.
Yeah, what are the top 3 cards there?
It is, like you said, Encarnacion Strand.
Yeah, so we pulled in our Encarnacion Strand autograph, a Spencer Horowitz autograph.
No idea who that is.
And I think it was a Brett Beatty.
This was good.
Yeah, that's a good one. And a Brett Beatty autograph. So like this...
Oh, autographs, yeah.
This is like... And to be honest with you, to pull Horowitz, Encarnacion Strand, and Brett Beatty... Sorry. I don't even think that's like as bad of a box as we could have gotten. And that's saying something, that those are $800 now. Insane. Horrible values, in my opinion, unless you're pulling one of the debut patches. I know you wouldn't buy this at this price, for sure. No. I know you wouldn't buy it probably at the retail price.
Right. I'm probably not the example to use here. Well, is it just rookies that are in there for the autographs, or could it be anyone like Tucker Barnhart?
No. So update every year is basically rookies who didn't have their cards in previous sets, or people that were traded recently.
Oh, New Jersey.
Or like mid-season and stuff like that.
So it'd be like Jack Flaherty.
It's like you're not pulling Shohei Ohtani. You're not pulling Mike Trout.
No,
I
didn't think
guys.
that.
But that's also what makes the ceiling so high, is it's all the rookies, right? And this is one of the deepest rookie classes we've ever had.
Right.
But moving...
Especially Pete Crow Armstrong.
Especially PCA. You hate Pete Crow Armstrong. I really like him.
It's not that I hate him. It's just that when you say the names first and then you bring him up, it's like, well...
Well, you thought we were moving on from Shohei Ohtani, and guess what? We're not. Because we got a lot of Shohei Ohtani stuff that sold in the past week. Some of it is insane. I'm going to rattle them off. This is what I always do. I rattle them off, and you tell me which one you think is the craziest.
Okay.
His 54th home run ball, that was his last home run this season, sold for $158,600 on Golden.com.
Okay.
His 50th stolen baseball, I'm assuming that means the ball that the pitcher threw when he broke for second, and stole his 50th
There's
right? Like, how can it be a stolen base ball?
There's an early candidate for an early favorite for my most ridiculous.
Yeah. But that sold for $148,230 on golden.com. Always golden.
Always.
The third base from that game, like the actual base that was used at third at Miami, whatever the Miami Marlins Stadium, Lone Depot something.
Lone Depot.
Yeah, Walmart. I don't know.
Walmart. No, it's not that.
I don't know. The Marlins are like the Walmart of baseball.
Nice. Always a discount.
But that game used base sold for $91,522 on golden.com.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll give you one guess as to where this next one sold. But Ohtani's locker room nameplate from that game. I didn't know visiting teams bring their own nameplates to these games. Just the nameplate over his locker sold for $26,840 on golden.com.
Oh, wow.
His 30th home run ball from this season sold for $86,620, and his 176th home run ball, I have no idea what season that was from. I'm going to guess, actually, that was from last season in Anaheim.
I think that's when he broke Matsui's record this year.
Okay, maybe. We might have to look that one up. But sold for $57,240 also on golden.com. You know what I'm like? At this point, I'm starting to just wonder, number one, why doesn't everyone sell everything on golden.com? Because these prices are just insane.
Yeah.
But number two, Shohei Ohtani is, at this point, the biggest athlete in the world. He just very well might be he's for sure one of the biggest athletes in the world.
Yeah, what would like a Ronaldo cleat go for, though?
I don't think it would go for $180,000. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe there is a Ronaldo cleat that has sold game used, right? But this is just like, these are, I mean, his 50th home run ball sold for $4.4 million.
It's insane.
Right? Like, I know Messi's jersey from that crazy crosstown game between Barcelona and Real Madrid. What's it called?
What, El Clasico?
El Clasico. I'm not a soccer guy.
It's also not, but you are an intelligent man who knows it's not crosstown.
No, you knew what I meant. You knew what I meant. Cross country.
Yeah.
Like, I know that did in the millions.
That makes sense to me.
I think it was one of the ones where it was like a crazy game and he scored.
Is it the one that he held up?
A game winner? Yes, that one.
Oh well, yeah. That's
but like that sold for like, I want to say it sold for less or maybe around the same amount as Ohtani's 50th home run ball.
I think if Lionel Messi, well, it's different now because they're at different stages of their career, right?
Yeah.
If he had like some sort of champions, well, I bet we could look at Messi's World Cup stuff that may or may not have been sold and maybe try to compare it to that because that's also today-ish pricing. Mm-hmm. That'd be my guess. I was correct. So Hideki Matsui hit 175 career home runs. 176 means that it was Ohtani's record-breaking for most home runs hit by a Japanese player ball. So I think I was actually at that game too.
Were you?
Yeah.
You know, given that, I'm actually surprised that it sold for so little.
I am too, considering the Japanese money that's been coming in.
Yeah, I mean, it's considering his 30th home run this year sold for $86,000, which is kind of a random home run. Mm-hmm. Right? The home run that puts him on top of the Japanese leaderboard sold for just $57,000. Maybe Golden needed to advertise that a little better.
I don't know if that necessarily connected with people. The most ridiculous is pretty clearly the ball that was thrown. I think he stole third base for his 50th also.
Yeah.
And then I think the locker room plate's actually kind of cool. Because they also clinched a playoff spot that day, so they celebrated. So
they did.
But the fact that, did the ball even get thrown down to third? That's what I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I don't think it did, which makes that ball just kind of silly.
Well, it sold for a lot.
Sure did. More power to everyone involved.
And just as we talked about Golden, we got a whole lot of Golden auction stuff that has sold that is not related to Shohei Ohtani.
What?
Yeah, I know. Shocking they sell stuff that's not Shohei Ohtani related.
All right, I guess I'll listen.
Ernie Banks, his 1958 game-used signed bat sold for $98,881.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Joe Montana's game-used Super Bowl 16? No. What? I can't read Roman numerals.
Is the one supposed to be an I? You put XV.
What's XV1?
Yeah, I do think that's 16 because X is 10, V is...
Yeah, but he was playing way after that. There's no way. Whatever.
XV1 is 16.
Joe Montana's game-used Super Bowl jersey sold for $107,000.
They've only played like 56 Super Bowls.
That's true. On Golden.com. I just insert Golden.com at the end of everything. A pair of Kobe Bryant game-used signed shoes from the Olympics. That's actually cool. Sold for $79,306.
The 08 Olympic basketball was really cool.
On Golden.com.
Okay. OlympicGolden.com.
Of those, any of them stand out? For me, obviously, the Kobe one stands out. I think that's epic.
Was it the 08 Olympics? I assume, right?
I'm going to assume so, yeah.
It may have also been the only Olympics he ever played in.
No, he played in multiple Olympics.
Did he?
Yeah.
Assuming that that's the 08 Olympics, then that one for sure.
Yeah.
I know we've now done this for basically, I don't know, let's just call it a year.
6 months.
6 months. So close.
Not even close.
And I've spent most of the time being like, who cares about the Olympics? But the 08 Olympics with the Redeem team and Kobe taking on Pau in Spain in that epic golden auction medal game.
Golden auctions at Golden.com.
That was a really special era of basketball. So to me, that's really cool. Ernie Banks is amazing. Joe Montana's pretty sick, I guess. But yeah, to me, personally, those Olympics are.
Well, let's move to a quick segment on MLB free agency. As a lot of you guys know, we cover all sports. However, we do slightly focus towards baseball. At least we have a tendency to focus toward baseball. It's what we know the most about. It's kind of our bread and butter. Yeah. Hard to not focus on baseball when you live in Los Angeles. But
we're not called Omaha Rips, as I said.
Yeah, exactly. Dodgers have stayed very busy over the past couple of weeks. Yeah. They, of course, signed Blake Snell to a 5-year, $182 million contract, including a $52 million signing bonus. $13 million in deferrals per season will put his payroll number at $26 million instead of $36.5 million, I believe.
26 is still hefty on the payroll.
Not when you're the Dodgers, it's not.
For most people.
Tommy Edman was also re-signed to 5 years and $74 million with a $17 million signing bonus. Honestly, I think that was kind of a steal.
Big time. Also, they extended him. They didn't have to do that.
Yeah, they didn't have to extend it, but they did because my guess is they will probably have Chris Taylor out the door by the end of next season.
I think his contract comes up anyways.
Yeah. But it begs the question, and this is the question that everybody is debating right now. And I mean everybody.
It's been the same argument since the Yankees were doing this stuff.
But it's even more so now because people think it's just more unfair than ever because of the deferral.
Because people are jealous, but yeah.
But A, does the MLB need a salary cap or a salary floor? B, should deferrals be allowed? Now, what you have to remember is these current rules were agreed upon by the players and the owners. So it's not like Rob Manfred himself can be like, oh, we're going to do this. Or,
only one team can do this.
We're going to do that, right? In my opinion, we do not need a salary cap. Mm-mm. And the main reason is baseball, even as is, even with the Dodgers fielding a super team now, even with, the Yankees putting together super teams in the 2000s and the 90s and before that. But I want to point to specifically the last 25 years. Mm-hmm. Not one team, not one, has repeated as World Series champions. Not a single one. The Dodgers will probably do it next year, is my guess. Is my guess.
If I were a betting man.
But
Which I'm not.
baseball already has the most parity of any sport due to just how random it is. Like, that's bottom line. I do think if we're gonna look at something here, I think we should actually look at the salary floor.
Retweet.
I think that is one thing to look at. So like the A's, for example, right? What their ownership does with that team, it keeps them uncompetitive. And spending nothing actually hurts baseball and the fans of those markets. So in terms of, you're talking about baseball being a quote-unquote dying sport, that hampers the growth of the sport in those markets if you're not spending any money. So I think if we're talking about salary caps and floors, I don't think the cap matters, but I think the floor maybe matters. I can also understand why people don't want deferrals. I think it's whatever. I don't mind it, mostly because, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand this. When you defer a contract, you still have to pay that full amount out every year into an escrow account. It's not like the Dodgers are sitting there saving $68 million a year.
No.
They take that $68 million that they would have had to pay him, and they put it into an escrow account for Ohtani. He just decides to collect it at a later date. So this isn't like we're saving money by doing deferrals. What they're doing is manipulating the luxury tax.
Right.
That's a whole nother argument, right? That's a whole nother question. Should you be able to manipulate the luxury tax? And so from my opinion, I would say deferrals I'm fine with, generally speaking, but I can see them having an issue with it if it's manipulating the luxury tax. And so for that purpose, I think you should only be able to defer a certain amount, a certain percentage of a contract every year. Like, I don't think you should be able to defer 98% of a contract. I think maybe you should be able to defer, say like, okay, we can defer 20% a year or 10% a year. And that would eliminate the ability to seriously impact the luxury tax scale. Mm-hmm. Those are my thoughts on these topics. What are yours?
I think it's all hypocrisy. You know, people celebrate every July 1st when Bobby Bonilla comes up, or Bobby Bonilla Day comes up for the Mets, and they're paying $1 million a year. Yep. That's a deferral that happened in the 2000s or the 90s or whatever it was, but we make fun of it. Now people cry poor and say that that's not fair. Okay, that's hypocritical. Everyone loved when the Padres spent $300 million on every single shortstop that's ever existed. And yet, when a team wants to spend a lot on the most transcendent superstar that's ever lived, and then other really good players, well, all of a sudden, that's a little bit ridiculous. It wasn't every shortstop. It was also Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, all these guys.
Blake Snell.
What a familiar name. And then on top of that, you can't make fun of California and their taxes when they're using the deferral system. So Mookie Betts can then have a home in Tennessee, collect his deferrals later down the road, and have Tennessee tax rules on the money that he has coming in. So, what I try to say in life is often nothing is black and white, and there's mixed here and there. The players don't mind it because they can go to a team like the Dodgers in California and then not really worry about the money for the most part.
Yeah.
And the owners obviously don't mind it. The only thing you have an issue is that your team doesn't do it, because it's an option for every single team in the CBA. So if you have a problem with it, don't complain about the one team that's utilizing it perfectly. Yeah. The inherent disadvantage is, of course, the market size, the eyeballs that go to the TV deal. That's the inherent advantage. No argument there. Apart from that, yes, there is a de facto salary cap. It's not a salary cap, but if you want to pay Shohei Ohtani's contract every single year to the rest of baseball by going over the luxury tax every year, then God forbid your owner wants to actually spend on their team. I think the joke is the extra playoff spot. Because what MLB did, and I think we had this conversation, and I said at the time, I'll save this for the later time. By adding that extra playoff spot but no salary floor, teams no longer are incentivized to try.
Yeah.
The Indians do not... Whoa. The Guardians... Cancel. The Guardians do not spend money on their team. The Brewers, the Cubs are in Chicago, have built up Wrigleyville. They cry poor, have their own TV network also, the marquee TV network, and won, I have it right here, 83 games, and we're technically in a playoff battle. That's a joke. So the issue is an extra playoff spot in incentivizing mediocrity. Owners, you don't have to necessarily spend on your roster. You have a chance at playoff revenue, and if you get in that tournament, the percentages say you have a good chance at making it pretty far. So I have no problem with deferrals. I have no problem with the team spending on with ownership and front offices spending on their team. God forbid, they're gouging you every other way. Why not at least see it on the field?
Yeah.
Every other fan is just jealous that their team's not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that argument, but I also understand the argument that most teams also just flat out don't necessarily have the revenue stream.
But they do.
No, they don't.
MLB Advanced Media is as lucrative, and the revenue sharing does put money in teams' pockets to spend.
It does, but it does not put the same amount of money that the Dodgers make. The Dodgers do not make the same amount of money as the Tampa Bay Rays. It is what it is.
They don't make the same.
For that reason.
But teams do have money.
Yeah, they do have money. But for that sole reason, I think deferrals should be allowed, but I think the percentage of a contract that you're able to defer should be significantly reduced.
I think that's fair. I think
that's the only fair way to do it.
I think that's fair, but you're also rarely going to get a guy saying, like, I don't want $70 million right now. You know what I mean?
Well, look,
special circumstances with his endorsements,
this is a perfect storm for the Dodgers. People already want to play in LA in the best weather, in the biggest market where they can make the most sponsor dollars, where the limelight's on them, right? And on top of this, they're the wealthiest team in the league, right there with the Yankees, right?
Probably second, but they're spending.
Probably second, but they spend the most, obviously. It's like it creates a perfect storm, and yes, they're just financially, they've been much smarter than other teams. It is what it is. But it's created a perfect storm where this is now real. Like, this is real. This is happening. Like, the Dodgers have 4 Cy Young winners in their rotation, essentially.
And a guy in Ohtani who could.
And like, they've got a 1 through 9. They could legitimately field an all-star at every single position. I mean, it's getting and I'm a Dodger fan, and it's getting a little bit ridiculous.
I don't want them to sign Soto. For similar reasons.
I don't either. I don't want them to sign Soto either, but I think it's getting a little ridiculous, and that's why I think you should be able to defer salaries. There should be a salary floor.
Floor is important.
For owners that do not put money into their teams. Like, I think there should be like a $100 million floor, period.
Yeah, because what was the A's? $54 million?
Period. Yeah, it's a joke. I think it should be $100 million. Should be the floor. You have to spend that amount on player salaries. If you're not going to sign it, you have to still pay it out in some way, right? But I think having a capped amount of deferrals would also be very big because it would help. Yes, players would still save money. You know, Shohei's going to move back to Japan when he's done playing, and he'll still be able to save, say, $10 million, the taxes on, say, $10 million worth of his contract every year, right? But he's not going to be able to save $680 million, whatever the tax is on that. Like, I think what that's doing is just fleecing the United States Treasury at that point.
California, especially.
Or California, sorry, yeah. But that'll do it for us here at the Hollywood Rip Studio for this week's episode of the Hobby Headquarters. Hope you enjoyed your time with us today. If you did, and you enjoy the content, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. As much as we'd love to, we can't keep putting this show out there without the support of you guys. So thanks to the 1,700 strong who tune into us and are subscribed.
We haven't even talked about these yet.
And if you're not, you'll be able to get our merchandise soon on our website, which is coming, not quite yet. So until next time, I'm Mr. Hollywood. That's Joe Nasty. And we'll see you right back here next time for Hot in the Hobby tomorrow afternoon. Joe Nasty, Mr. Hollywood, out.